The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday. Welcome back, everybody.
I've almost forgotten how to operate the system.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we got a bad run here. We had the National Convention, State Convention, you know, those things.
You did it deliberately. You wanted to take a vacation.
Nah, not really. But, yeah, I tell you. But it's necessary. You have to get your continuing education units to be up to date. So, but hey, here we are, the Riv. Not much changes in the Riv. I guess I don't know where we're going to begin today.
Well, let's begin right at the beginning here with the candidates.
The candidates,
which is very interesting because with the number of candidates we have right now, we don't even have a primary for any office. There's only one person who's taking papers out for mayor. That's Paul Coogan. For the city council, we have Colin Dias, Michelle Dion, Steve Long, Trot Lee, Ricky Teeth, Brad Kilby, Christopher Peckham, Matthew Springer, Steve Camara, James Noonan, Timothy Cole, Leo Pelletier, Pamela Liberté-Lebeau, Mark Nathaniel Malacone, and Linda Pereira. So, obviously Linda's coming back for the run. On the school committee, we have Josh Hetzler, Tom Corey, Sean Connell, and Mark Costa. So you have 3 current and 1 newbie. Don't even, and I mean, on the school committee, they don't even have enough to make a full committee.
No.
So.
Well, yeah. I was looking at that, but I'm sure that somebody will. Well, who knows? You can't be sure. You shouldn't assume. We know what assume means. But yeah, well, the mayor. I guess the big question is when we're looking at the coincidence or coinkydink between the 25th is when Jazel Correa's pretrial conference,
right,
and that's the final date, and they should set a
trial date.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this first paragraph. Oh, good. It's a district court judge who will likely proceed over the mayor's trial.
I think she meant preside.
Preside, yeah. It's like I'm looking at it, I'm going, wow. I don't,
But what's interesting is some of this in the article isn't exactly accurate.
Yeah.
I've read the pretrial conference request, and I've got copies of it. But a new date for pretrial conference before a district judge has been set for June 25th at 2 p.m. Now, this isn't a district court judge like in Fall River. This is a U.S. district court judge.
Jeez. I'm glad we're making that clarification.
Yes,
I had a few people who were confused, yes.
It's very, and it's been transferred from the magistrate judge to the district court judge, which means at this hearing they will most likely set up the date for trial. They've already said that the trial will probably take about 2 weeks. At this point, you would think maybe the mayor will start entering into negotiations to come up with a deal of some type. But if not, he's going to be in trouble. He's going to be in trouble. But he still thinks he's innocent, and he's going to prove to be innocent. So,
well, that's the great thing about convoluted thinking. I listened to his reasoning. He said, I was young. Well, that's unfortunately. Ignorance or age is no excuse in a court of law. Ignorance of the law. So you violate a law. But 18,256 pages of discovery.
Yep. And interestingly enough, Jazel's side hasn't produced anything.
Yeah.
Normally they would have some defense document, something that they would produce for the district attorney. Nothing.
And it also goes on to say that there's been Court filing dated May 31st indicates that the discovery portion of the case is complete, so nothing else will be forthcoming. And no discovery motions have been filed, and none are anticipated. So, and then it goes on to say, the attorneys have estimated if Correa's case goes to trial, it would be no more than 2 weeks in
Right.
length. So, so that means that between now and the 25th, that we're playing Let's Make a Deal. Now, I'd
We're
say.
hoping, you know, I mean.
You know, we're looking, I mean, based on the fact that they have no discovery motions filed, they have nothing, you know, there's no discovery on their behalf or anything else. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to fathom that they're not going to try to make a plea deal because.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll see, I guess. I'm hoping they have a trial. I'd like to run up there and
yeah, you go watch.
and watch it. That'll be, you know, you will sit there firsthand and watch the pleading. I would really enjoy that. So, and we are a topic. We remain, as usual, a negative topic of conversation because at the national convention it wasn't bad because I was just another person because they were
Right.
from all over the United States. But at the state conference, everybody that saw me, when they saw my ID badge, they went, "Oh, Fall River. That's where the mayor's under indictment, right?" I went, "Well, yeah, there are also other things too. I mean, you know." But that was virtually the lead-in statement of everybody I met because as soon as they saw my ID badge, they went, "Fall River. Oh, Fall River." You know, it was either that's where the mayor's under indictment or has he gone to jail yet or what's going on with the mayor? And it's like, well, your guess is as good as mine. So, again, the point that we made at the beginning of this soap opera, that staying in office is detrimental to Fall River because the image, you know, he should have taken a step back, at least in my opinion. But obviously, he's doing what he wants. So we'll see if he was, if it's going to work out. And nobody's going to make a guess or should not make a guess because soon the only person whose opinion matters will make the ultimate decision, a court of law. So there we go. But now the candidates. You know, one candidate for mayor. Jazel hasn't pulled papers, and the 25th's the last day, right, to pull?
I believe so.
So we'll see.
And I mean, Erica Scott Pacheco said she was going to pull papers, but she still hasn't done it. Why she's waiting so long, I don't know. But I mean, maybe she's not going to pull papers. Maybe she just realized it's not worth the aggravation.
Yeah, or maybe she's decided to run for council and get her feet wet at that
Maybe.
level before she runs for mayor. And she did make she did impress some people. I heard some people say that they listened to her speak, and she was. They said a lot of people, and I know you have the same. You know, a lot of people just said, "Oh, I can't vote for her because she doesn't have a chance."
Exactly.
And I think that, well, yeah, she has to do what is best for her. She makes her own decisions. But I would say, at least in my opinion, that if she ran for city council, it would be a forum for her to be known. She could be there. She would be part of city government. People could see her put her positions into action, and I think it would be a good first step. But you got to do what you got to do. But we have some people missing conspicuously missing from the city council list.
You'll notice Joe Camara's not there.
Joe Camara's not there yet.
Sean Kadim's not there.
Sean Kadim is not there yet.
Derek Viveris is not there.
Derek Viveris is not there.
I mean,
so, you know, I find it hard to believe that Joe Camara isn't going to run for city council.
so do I.
Derek Viveris, well, I don't know. He needs to at least hit double figures in amount of sentences that he said in the council chamber. So maybe he needs a second term to hit double figures for, to get double figures in articulating a sentence.
Or maybe the consensus of the people in Fall River is it's not worth running for office. Because again, the first thing is the people of Fall River don't want to tell the truth, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why Erica Scott Pacheco couldn't break that barrier, because she was telling the truth about everything. I mean, I sent you the pictures. I didn't bring them this morning of the bags, the purple bags. The program's over, but we've got thousands of them in the city garage that we paid for.
We paid for.
We paid for.
We paid, the taxpayer. And even the people who didn't have purple bags, who had private contractors, remember, they had to buy those bags, and they're buying them with taxpayer money. And some of those taxpayers should not be on the hook for these bags because they were not part of that program.
Exactly. And
at least in my opinion. And if I was one of those people, I would be...
File for a rebate.
I would be filing for a rebate.
But, you know, the interesting part about it is the company that produced those bags wasn't providing them to many businesses in the Fall River that sold the bags. Because you always heard them say, I don't have the bags, I don't have the bags. They never provided them to me, they never sent them to me. But all of a sudden, they got to buy 90 days worth of bags, and they're going back to when they were providing them to all the stores, and they're selling the bags to the city for the full, I mean, you might as well get the full fare, right? Just take it all. So it's very interesting. It wasn't the last 90 days, average of the last 90 days. It was the average of the first 90 days, it seems.
Yeah, and again, and now taxpayer money being wasted again with these follies. And remember, everybody, they like to have amnesia, political amnesia. They've got the retentivity of a gnat, and everybody seems to forget that Jaisal Correa was a staunch supporter of this program.
That's right, he was.
And said it on numerous occasions in front of the council. But when it became politically expedient for him,
he said that.
We're done.
And he said that.
He admitted, yeah. Well,
he admitted
at some point, well, he had to. I mean,
Yeah.
it was hard not to admit it, but he did say it was politics.
That's right.
Yeah, and
because everything
the
is
school
politics.
committee, they don't even have enough people to have a complete committee.
Exactly.
So let's see who else. I don't see some very conspicuous names are absent from here.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, Joe Martin may not be running.
Joe Martin's not going to run?
From what I understand. But that, again...
But we've heard that before.
We've heard that before. So,
yeah.
But again...
Well, it would be a great loss. Joe, whether you agreed or disagreed, he was very, very active. He had, you know, as a former educator, he was knowledgeable, and whether you agreed with all his positions or not, Joe was an advocate for what he thought was right. He stood up and he fought. So
one of the things I liked about Joe was he was a straightforward guy. He didn't pull any punches, okay? And he always advocated for the students. He always advocated for what was right for the kids. He was all for education.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he's not going to run because he did recently lose his wife. He has difficulty hearing. So, you know, plus he's getting up there in age, although that doesn't stop people.
Yeah.
But again, you know, maybe...
It's not stopping Joe Biden.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, maybe he just wants to take some time off now. I mean, he didn't take I don't even think he took a week off after his wife passed away. I mean, I think it was at the next school committee meeting. So.
And obviously our condolences on the loss of the passing of his wife. But Joe was not really a politician, which is always refreshing. When you get someone who's willing to speak his mind, and Joe always spoke his mind.
That's right.
And that's what I always liked about Joe. I think he was an extremely good counselor, even though, as you know, as these people say, we don't have to agree with everybody on every single issue. We can respect the fact that they can have a differing opinion. We can disagree. We can vehemently disagree, but it doesn't mean that they're bad people. There are other issues we agree on, but we can respect the fact that he stood up for what he believed in, as We all should. So he's conspicuously absent from that, but we'll see. We don't have that much time left. But
Kevin Aguiar's not there either.
yeah, well, I mean, I was even surprised to see him come back in the first place.
I was too.
But as you said, yeah, he's missing. But and I know a few of the others had already said they weren't going to run again.
Yep.
And so we'll see. It's a very interesting. Some of these people that have tried 2 or 3 times and not gotten in may have a chance this time.
Exactly. Now, and remember, one of those people on the school committee may not be able to take the office.
True.
Okay, so that's another lawsuit that needs to happen now. And
thanks to our wonderful charter.
And if Josh Hetzler was smart, he would take it to court now, because you remember what the judge said to us. Why didn't this come to court before the election?
Yeah, he could end up getting bit in the butt
if he waits.
by that precedent that was set with us on the charter.
Exactly.
Because, if you're going to wait until they try to disqualify you rather than get it first. So now, let's say for the sake of argument, he's told he can't run. We've got 3 candidates.
Exactly.
So far.
We still need 3 more.
You know, so that is absolutely crazy. But well, we'll see, and we see some of these regulars, Michelle Dion from the RDA and from other new. So we all, Colin Dias,
which is a newcomer,
who's a newcomer, but not a newcomer in name. His name recognition is there, you know.
Although for some people it's not positive.
Well, but it's
my
known.
Name recognition.
But it's known, name recognition. I didn't say positive or negative. It's, you know, his name, the name is recognizable in city politics already,
it is.
even though he's chronologically he's a fairly young individual, but he's been involved in politics for.
He's already putting out some position statements on Facebook and stuff, which are very interesting. Like he wants to make Fall River a right-to-farm community. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
a right to farm.
Yes, he wants to make Fall River a right-to-farm community.
Oh, okay. I don't know where we're gonna. We don't have a lot of farmland, I guess.
No, we don't have a lot of land left at all.
But well, hey, I'd like to see some of his. We will read all these positions. Of course, Michelle Dion, we all know.
Yep.
She was an appointee from the mayor on the RDA.
Nope, she's the governor's appointee.
Oh, governor, that's it. But she's on the RDA too.
Yes, she is. And speaking of the RDA, they're in big trouble again.
Again, yeah, again. Why? They're always in trouble. Why? Because they're a bunch of politically appointed bobbleheads.
Exactly.
And they don't care about process or laws or regulations or anything.
But they're good at pointing the finger at people.
Yes. And
the EPA came down to Fall River to review the city pier project. And the RDA did not file any required reports with the EPA. They're supposed to be quarterly filings. The plan for and you know, I got to give Ken Fiola credit because he spoke very clearly, because he's being blamed for everything.
Yeah. Well, that's the old political.
Mr. Fiola made 4 main points about his position. The use of the city pier was pre-approved for a marina and marine activities, not an entertainment venue. That was because it was the mayor's girlfriend's father. In order to satisfy the requirements of state and federal remediation grants, a cap of asphalt on the city pier was required. And the idea is saying they want to put grass down there. None of this should be a surprise to the current redevelopment authority members serving on the RDA because Mr. Fiola has emails and documentation as recently as September of 2018 stating the exact use and what was required. The September 2018 RDA meeting can be viewed by anyone on Fall River Government Television. And finally, there is not a personal lawsuit against any particular RDA board member. It's a matter of getting documentation to support the plaintiff's claim that there were open meeting law violations at an earlier RDA meeting. The entities involved were put on notice not to destroy any emails or texts and that was not adhered to, according to Fiola. While 3 board members gave the information, a couple did not, and records had to be subpoenaed. This is because the RDA is saying, well, he's suing me. No, he's not.
And let's get that last paragraph. That's not one of his points, but it said when WSAI General Manager Sue Nader, what he would like to say directly to the board. Fiola said, quote, "Enough is enough. Please discontinue dragging my name through the mud. At least give me the opportunity to be there to answer questions and present additional facts," unquote. To make him a scapegoat is not a good thing. So Fiola said, let's be transparent and release emails and get everything on the table so everyone can see the background information on these things. And with that being said, we had Mr. Fiola on our show.
Yes, we did.
We got many comments on it about the information he proceeded. He is an attorney. He is asserting that he has documentation for all these things. And it's mind-boggling how politicians in Fall River just completely ignore every law in the world to take care of their friends and relatives. As Mr. Fiola said in his point, he said he can prove it. You know, we knew that it was approved for marina and marine activities, not entertainment venues. And he talked about the asphalt cap. How can a board put grass on something if they've read anything about this?
They can't.
Didn't they do their homework? No. That was a rhetorical question. Just for you viewers out there who thought I was asking a really ridiculous question. It was rhetorical. We know they never do their homework.
No, they don't.
What they do is listen for the phone call or get the text message. That's why Mr. Fiola wants the text messages from Kathy Ann Viveris.
Now you'll notice.
And I think he made a very good statement. Somebody told me, I don't know exactly where he made it, but he said that, and I think it was a pretty good turn of the phrase about Kathy Ann in many issues. He said, she was late to the party. And you know something? She's been late to a lot of parties, and she never has the accurate information. So the RDA, all of whom have intimate relationships with the mayor, and it's obvious. I mean, look, the kangaroo courts we've seen, what they did to Fiola, and look, whether we agree or disagree with Ken Fiola on everything or nothing or some things is irrelevant. The man deserves his day in court.
Yes, he does.
They had a meeting while he was out of town.
Deliberately.
Exactly, deliberately.
Because he made himself available by FaceTime and by phone.
Exactly. He made himself available, and they're not going to even give him extend him the courtesy of even giving him that and then shutting him off in the middle of his statement. You know why? They don't want these things to become public, to show their absolute incompetence and their ignoring of their statutory obligations.
Well, I was very surprised at the last vote when they made the entertainment venue by Michelle Dion. Obviously, she did not review what was approved for a plan by the RDA for that pier. And, you know, that just tells me that she is another, whatever the mayor says I'm going to do. You know,
and yet she wants to be a city councilor.
Right. And
is she going to be that judicious about reviewing things that are going to affect the taxpayers of the city of Fall River?
And she constantly says that, you know, she has her own mind. She's going to think her own way. Well, to me, you're not doing that when you give a license that you can't give out to a gentleman who is intimately related in one way or another to the mayor, and you just said, okay, you can have it. And you didn't even put it out for bid. Nobody knew this was happening. So that's probably another violation under procurement, under 30B. Now, you got another issue. When they met with the EPA down at the city pier, guess what? A quorum of the RDA was present without posting a meeting. It's an open meeting law violation. They don't care about the law.
Yeah, well, you know what disturbs me, CJ, is the fact that their cavalier attitude about the law and everything else. It's like she's saying that she has her own mind, and she may have her own mind. But I'd like her to use it once in a while. because obviously she doesn't use it. She's on this board. You think she'd review all pertinent information about this before she's gonna cast a vote on it? I find that disturbing. And then she wants to be a city councilor. I find that extremely disturbing because it's like you or I. If we get something, we research things. I remember when I was elected president of the Firefighters Union, before I ever put the gavel in my hand and appeared at a meeting after I was elected, I studied Robert's Rules of Order from cover to cover and Atwood's Rules of Order, which we were using at the time. But the International used both Roberts and Atwood's. I learned the precedence of motions, I learned how to run a meeting, and I constantly reviewed them because it was part of my job to be informed. You can't make an informed vote without information, without doing your homework. You remember that old adage, what is it? How many P's? Poor preparation promotes piss poor performance.
Exactly.
So the six P's. So poor preparation. And as Thucydides said when he was writing about the Peloponnesian Wars, true safety is found only through long previous training and not from the eloquent exhortations heard before going into battle. That also is about your work on any committee or in any job. You have to do your homework. You have to get as much information as possible to make the best decision. And when a board acts the way this board has acted, based on this information that Mr. Fiola has put forth, it shows that they do not belong on those boards. They do not belong representing anybody because they don't do their damn homework.
Well, what's very interesting about that event venue, and I have to say this, the EPA and DEP, which is the Massachusetts Environmental Protection, contacted the city last week after they were alerted to the RDA's plan to place a temporary entertainment and event venue on the north and more contaminated portion of the pier. So people are going to be on an entertainment venue that is standing on top of PCBs.
Yeah, but you got to remember, there was a method to their madness. When they planted the grass, we'd have the only glowing grass
exactly.
in the state.
Exactly.
It would be like a tourist attraction.
Be able to see from the space station.
The only other place they have grass like that is New Jersey.
Right. And remember, this was May 22nd that the RDA unanimously approved a licensing agreement for that, without even putting it out for bid, without posting that they were looking for it.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, why would you obey EPA directives? Why would you obey the EPA regulations? Why would you put things out for bid when statutorily we're supposed to? Why would you do any of this?
Right.
Because, listen, we don't have to read it. You have a mind of your own, and that mind is affected by the echo you hear in your ear. And that's the mayor's echo.
That's right.
This is what I want.
And the messenger, Kathy Ann Viveris.
That's it.
Which, makes me, which is very interesting because when they go into executive session, they allow Kathy Ann Viveris to go in there. Executive session means only the board, not
or people with that business that requires you to be in executive session.
Not Kathy Ann Viveris. Even though she's a city administrator, she's not a member of the board. So they could be violating the executive session rule. So we'll have to find out about that too now. See, there's another issue.
Patrick, we're calling you. Patrick, get on that one. But you're right. We want the interest of the public to be looked at by the people who are commissioned to look out for the people.
Well, that's
and
what
they're not doing it.
Right.
You cannot make a good decision, a valid decision, in the best interest of the people of Fall River when you don't even look, as our city council does, at the material in front of them before the meeting, as the RDA does. And how can you ignore these facts? We may, you know something, we may have to ask Mr. Fiola if he wants to come back on the show again.
We may have to. Well, thanks for watching. We're glad to be back. We'll see you on Monday.
And we can even invite a few.